صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Salam everybody. How are you? Today I'm be honest with you, I'm very tired, so if I sound all over the place, it's because my daughter won't let me sleep. So forgive me, wallah. Alhamdulillah, I like her, but she's a lot. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so today we're continuing the story of Musa alayhi salam. I'm going to give a quick recap and then we'll continue inshallah. Last time we went through a lot of the story so far. So if you missed a couple, it's okay. You're totally fine. Everything's going to make sense inshallah, even if you missed a couple. So we started off with Musa's birth alayhi salam, the drama with going down the river, being adopted by the Pharaoh, raised by him. Then the Hakuna Matata, he's a older man now, right? He accidentally kills that man, leaves town, eventually gets called up to the mountain. We got to the part where he's called to the mountain, and then we just finished the scene where he had that face off with the Pharaoh. And then the main theme that we saw from that last time in the Quran is power dynamics. At least one main theme. No one can ever really limit Quran, this is what it's about. There's a lot of lessons from it, but one theme that we focused on, you and I, last tanzeen, was power dynamics. We saw a lot of really dirty tactics the Pharaoh tried to play. To summarize it really quick, Musa alayhi salam came with two simple messages. I'm the messenger of the one true God, release the slaves. Those are the two messages. The Pharaoh never acknowledged either message. Because we're gonna go back into that scene inshallah right now, so I want you to put it back into your head a little bit. You have Musa alayhi salam and Harun. Harun's not being acknowledged. Why is he not being acknowledged, by the way? You notice Pharaoh never acknowledges Harun, ever. Why do you think he never acknowledges Harun? Why Musa but not Harun?
Because he didn't grow up with the higher class.
Yeah, and he's a slave. He's slave class. So he's never acknowledged. Even the generals acknowledge him. The magicians that we're going to talk about today, they acknowledge him. They'll mention Harun. The generals would be like both of them, meaning Musa and Harun. The Pharaoh never even acknowledges Harun because he's just a slave man. You understand? So it's very consistent, subhanAllah, and like that power. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing. The scene I'm going to set again, Musa arrives in the palace. Pharaoh's on his throne. You got the fan guy. You got all of his generals around him. The president never travels alone, right? He's always have his top advisors with him. Pharaoh's no different. And in this room, you had the showdown of words, right? Where Musa alayhi salam came with those demands, came with that truth, and Pharaoh tried to guilt trip him. Didn't I raise you as a boy? Remember that one? He tried to say, look what he was sent with. Like how some people go like, look at this clown. As if that's an argument, and it's not. He tried to threaten him with prison, which again is a non-argument. You're not really addressing the claim, right? He's coming with the claim, address the claim, okay? By the end of it, Musa alayhi salam threw the climax, which was the arm, and especially the snake. The snake is the biggest thing. He threw the staff down and the snake happened. Then there was chaos in the courtroom. And then afterwards, Pharaoh, this is where we're going to pick up right now. We're going to press play on this scene right now. After that, the Pharaoh, the one thing I want you to know from this part of the story is just subhanAllah through words, the power dynamic was in the beginning of the story, Musa was down here and Pharaoh was up here. Pharaoh had power, Musa alayhi salam did not. And by the end of that conversation, it shifted. Because remember, this did not just happen between Pharaoh and Musa. This was in front of an audience. Like that leaf guy, the fanning guy, he went home and told his wife, you'll never guess what happened. And then he told his wife, don't tell anyone. So then by the next morning, everyone knew. Right? And then the word started to spread that Pharaoh looks like a chump now. He couldn't even address the simplest things. You should have seen him. He was babbling like an idiot. He got so mad. You have to realize there's a certain point where anger makes you look weak, right? Like if someone's coming up to you with like a truth, like they're like, hey, you should have done that, and you go like, what are you talking about? You now took a lesser position. When you, especially men in the room, you have to realize this, because anger is just a part of us, right? Ghazali would even say, within every man is a rabid dog. We'll talk about manhood later, inshallah. It's very interesting, his idea, right? He said, well, I'm not going to say because it's going to be used against you. But inside, I would say puppy, but he would say a dog. But regardless, when you react with anger, you actually take the lesser position on the seat of power. So he looked weak. And he knew he looked weak because he's looking around. Remember, it's not just Musa and Pharaoh. They're not the only two characters in the story, even though they're the only two talking. They're not the only two characters in the story. There's a lot of, oh my God, happening around. So the Pharaoh's looking at the faces of the people around him, and he feels, because he's a smart politician, he's feeling like he's losing it. Their now eyes are on Musa, and eyes are off of who? Himself. So what he does is something really sneaky. I told you guys this is like changing the temperature that abusers sometimes do. So he gathered the generals together, and he told them, "Inna hada lasahirun alim." This is obviously a learned magician, which is a weird thing to say, especially for someone that doesn't believe in the unseen. Because all of a sudden you're talking about magic, right? This is a comment that someone made, even about the people of Mecca. They're like, they won't admit the Prophet's a Prophet ﷺ because that's so abstract, but they'll call him a magician. You know? It's very strange. Like you're picking the unseen that you believe in type of thing, you know? But anyway, they told him, he rounded them together and said, "Inna hada lasahirun alim." Where is that page number? Excuse me, guys. There it is. Sorry. And I'm going to pick up from this scene. So I said this a little bit, but I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, inshallah. So, "Inna hada lasahirun alim." This is obviously a learned magician. Now, the way that he said this is interesting. He could have just said, "Hada sahirun alim." This is a learned magician. In Arabic, that just means this is a magician. So imagine the chaos is happening. He brings the closest people, like they kind of huddle, or they go, "What do you think?" And like one guy's like, you know, like that's happening. It's called najwa in Quran. Like they have like a secret little meeting. And if he just told them, this is a very knowledgeable, skilled magician. Okay, that would have just been hada sahirun alim. He didn't say that though. He said, "Inna hada la sahirun alim." The difference is one is extremely emphatic. This is definitely a magician, I swear. Arabic students, you know. Inna hada la sahirun. There's like inna and la, right? There's tawqid twice, right? You too? Okay. Why is that significant? You only use inna when the audience doesn't believe you. Right? So, for example, Fatiha opens up Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. This is an easy example in Quran, right? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. To Allah belongs all praise and thanks. Okay? He didn't open up Innal Hamdalillah. No doubt about it, all praise and thanks is for Allah. Even though that's a stronger way to open up Quran, technically, in a language perspective. But you know why he doesn't do that? Because Fatiha assumes the person already believes that. You don't have to convince them. You're not talking to someone that doesn't believe that statement. Does that make sense? So, but the Pharaoh is different because when he says, "Hey, this is a learned magician," they're like, "Boss, I don't know. I mean, that thing freaked me out." Do you see his hand? He goes, "Inna hada la sahirun alim," and they go, "Oh yeah, sahirun alim, got it. You're right, boss. Sorry." It's kind of like a threat, meaning this is the story we're going with. Okay. I had a comment, but I'm going to come back to that a little bit, inshallah. So, "Inna hada la sahirun alim. Yuridu an yukhrijakum min ardikum." He wants to expel you, extract you, make you leave your land. Which we're going to talk about that a little bit more soon, inshallah. But I want you to think about this. This threat that an outside immigrant force is going to make you leave your land. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Interesting. Anyway. Yuridu an yukhrijakum. He wants to cause you to all leave your land. And I said this last time too, your land. Does Pharaoh ever say the words your land ever? Well, all of a sudden, guys, I'm looking out for you. He wants you to leave your land. Right? As if he even believes that. بِسِحْرِهِ from his magic. فَمَاذَا تَأْمُرُونَ. So what do you think? And again, this is like he never asked their opinion. There is no counsel. Right? But here, because he feels he's losing them, and I remember I told you about this, no matter how powerful one man or one woman is, they will always fear the next people underneath them. The CEO will always fear the C-suite. Okay? And the C-suite will always fear the CEO. Always. Why is that? Because the CEO's power is like, if you imagine Pharaoh standing on like a table or something, like a foundation, that foundation is his generals. All they have to do is what? Stand up and leave, and what happens to him? He falls. So he's terrified of them. Because if they stop believing in this whole thing that he built up, then he loses his own power. Does that make sense? So now that he sees like their eyes are on Musa alayhi salam, he starts going, "What do you guys think? Because I'm really worried about you guys. He's going to make you leave your land. Think what's going to happen to us, guys. We're a team here." Okay, فَمَاذَا تَأْمُرُونَ قَالُوا. This is where we left off. They responded back, "Arjih." Leave him, let him be, let this slide. وَأَخَاهُ. And his brother. Notice they mentioned the brother. Not once I mentioned before did Pharaoh mention the brother, because he's a lowly slave boy in Pharaoh's mind, right? Like the plantation master will never address the slave in America not too long ago. Same thing happening here, okay? But they address him. أَرْجِحُ أَخَاهُ. Leave him and his brother. وَبَعَثْ فِي الْمَدَائِنِ حَاشِرِينَ. They're saying, send out recruiters in Egypt. وَبَعَثْ فِي الْمَدَائِنِ حَاشِرِينَ يَأْتُوكَ بِكُلِّ سَحَارٍ عَلِيمٍ. And let them bring you every knowledgeable magician that we can find. Recruit a bunch of people and bring them every knowledgeable. So they're going and they're hiring a bunch of magicians around the city. Okay, let me stop right here, really fast. Magic. I'm not going to say what I think about magic whatsoever because I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. In this story, though, there is a really big hint that what's happening, because you guys know there's magicians are coming. And even right now we're talking about magicians, okay? There's a big hint in Quran. We're going to talk about it today. I'm not just making this up. And we're going to go back to Taha. I'm going to show you the word, okay? There's a big hint that what's actually happening wasn't actual like black magic stuff. These are people like, this would be people that make something look like something else. So this is like the AI of the time. And this isn't a joke. This is literally the way you and I think of AI, that like people can make a computer program and make some things look real when they're really not, like Will Smith eating spaghetti, for example. Like these magicians is their Will Smith eating spaghetti, is their AI systems. Huh? Yeah, you can think of him like that, illusionist. The word sihr is interesting. I'm going to pause really fast because I want you to think about this. Sihr, essentially, I meant to look up the Arabic, wallah, forgive me, but I'm not talking about the like one word definition. I'm talking about like a root definition, sahara, okay? In Arabic, back in the day, it actually meant to, essentially, to deceive people in order to control them. Does that make sense so far? Okay, these people are like the AI of Egypt, where they would make some things look real, and then who do you think they'd attribute that to? Yeah, why? To make him look amazing. Like, look what he made. Look what he did. Spoiler alert, coming up in this story, these magicians are going to face off against Musa alayhi salam. Guess what trick they try to do? They throw sticks on the floor and they make them look like they're moving. What does that sound like? The staff, right? That's what they try to do. Because if this is your biggest thing that you have, then we can do that. We can easily do that. And notice, by the way, it's not just one magician they're looking for, it's who? Kulli saharin alim, right? Every knowledgeable magician. Sahar, by the way, sahir magician. Sahar, like a skilled, like this guy is like a manager level magician. You know what I mean? Like this guy had 5 years on his resume, magician, even though he just got out of college. That kind of guy, right? Like get him, okay? بِكُلِّ سَحَارٍ عَلِيمٍ فَجُمِّعَ السَّحَرَةُ. One more thing I want to say. Listen, okay? I usually hate doing this, wallah. I need you guys to stay with me today, okay? I hate doing this because in my experience, it puts people to sleep, but I don't care today. So listen. I don't like going flip-flopping between two different surahs. I don't like doing that because then what happens is some people like lose track and then they stop paying attention. I'm going to do that anyway today because I can't help myself. So here's what's going to happen. We're entering this next scene in the story, one of my favorite scenes in this entire story. I'm very excited to talk about it. Well, if you can't already tell, I'm talking very fast. But this scene happens mostly in two places. One is here in Shu'ara, and one is back in season 1, which is Surah Taha. If you remember Taha, Taha is where he was on the mountain and he had that really intimate like conversation with Allah. And then we kind of left it and went to season 2, okay? This is season 2. But it's mentioned in detail, like I said, in two places. Shu'ara, which is right, Surah Shu'ara, which is here, and Surah Taha, which happened a couple surahs ago, like I think 6 surahs ago, okay? Why is that important? Allah doesn't just repeat stories. Usually what happens is, it's kind of like what's a good TV show I can like tell you? You know, like if you're like watching like a really good show, like Breaking Bad or something, or like, I don't know, like Attack on Titan or something like really popular. And what they do sometimes is in season 1, they show you like a scene. And then in season 2, they'll go back and like where you remembered the scene was over, they keep the camera rolling. And then they show you some other thing that you're like, oh my God, that was happening? Oh, that was that guy. Oh my God. Like that kind of, you know what I mean? They go back in time and they show you new details about that same scene, okay? That happens here between Taha and Shu'ara. What are the two surah names again? What surah are we doing right now? Thank you for paying attention. Shu'ara, but here's the thing though. Allah focuses on different things entirely between these two scenes. It's the same story, the same skeleton is there, right? Like he calls up magicians face off Musa, spoiler alert, they lose. That's like the Cliff Notes version on both sides, Taha and Shu'ara. But in Shu'ara, the camera focuses on the political dynamic, right? How were the magicians used like a political tool by the Pharaoh? And in Taha, it's something else entirely. It's more like a personal thing. It's a personal thing for Musa. Like there's literally a point where Allah talks about Musa's heart, how he felt. And even it talks about like a secret meeting the magicians had. None of that's in Shu'ara, because in Shu'ara, all Allah cares to talk about Shu'ara for the most part is how they're used as a political tool. But on Taha, it's more personal. I'm going to do the Shu'ara bit first, and then I'm going to go back in time to Taha. That's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I want you to stay with me. Okay, so here's what happened in Shu'ara. فَجُمِعَ السَّحَرَةُ. So the magicians were gathered لِمِيقَاتِ يَوْمٍ مَعْلُومٍ, to the appointment of a well-known day. What does it mean, a well-known day? That was explained in season 1. We'll get there in a minute. But right now, they're being called to a day that was known. You can think of it like a day that everyone knew about. All of Egypt knew about this day. And they were called, appointed to that day. وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ. This is where the political stuff comes in, so listen to this. This is going to sound familiar too. وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ. And the people were told, هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ? Are you coming or not? You know what this means? It means that you can imagine it like this. And Allahu Alam, of course, but this is the way I learned it. The guards came by, knocked at everyone's door, and was like, hey, the magicians are going to perform on this day. You should come, bring the family. Are they being invited or are they being told? Everyone's being forced. You better come. If we find you at home, there's going to be problems. Are you coming or not? هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ? Okay, so what is Pharaoh doing? I want you to, what is really happening here? He hired all of these, and there's narrations where they think it's like 10,000 magicians, or who knows? I don't know where Mufassirin get these numbers from, to be quite honest with you, Allah. We just know it's a lot of magicians. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, all the magicians are piled up. They're training for this really important day, okay? This is a marketing campaign to make sure everyone is there present for that day. In the Pharaoh's mind, what's going to happen that day? What's going to happen exactly? The magicians are going to wipe the floor with Musa. And if the and why is that important that he does this publicly? Because now the idea is like, this is like a Colosseum style event. Like there's like the base of the Colosseum, out comes Musa with a stick, and then 1,000 or whatever magicians. And the idea is Pharaoh sitting on a throne, and he's like, okay, go. And what he's thinking is happening is everyone in that Colosseum knows what happened a few weeks ago. What happened a few weeks ago? I look like a fool. We have to put an end to this. So I'm going to hire these fools, and they're going to make me look less of a fool, and they're going to own this fool. That's his idea of what's going to happen. Okay? That's the idea. So they're kind of like a tool right now. You can imagine like they post it on Facebook about the Magician Day, and like they have like marketing things with magicians going like this, and Pharaoh presents the Sahar Alim, and you get the idea. There's like this really, big marketing push, and also forced marketing push to get everyone to come to this day, okay? And then people started thinking, because again, their faith in Pharaoh since that day in the court, what happened to it? And now they're seeing marketing for all these men, the magicians, and they were told like they're like the pride of the nation, and they're true patriots, and you know this language. We know this language because we live this language now. Yeah, we live it now. ICE, they're true patriots. Like stuff like that. It's garbage. All of it's garbage. But they're the real Egyptians. The real Egyptians. And they start looking like, wow. Like if I can give some semblance of a likening to nowadays, this is like the Candace Owens and like the Charlie Kirks and like the Ben Shapiros and you get the idea? All of these, the Bill Maher's and like the whatever, like all of these influencers. Well, literally, they're just influencers. They're literally just influencers. Hired in paid $7,000 a post influencers. Like that kind of thing's going on, right? And they're being plastered like this is the hope of Egypt. This is the new face of Egypt. And everyone starts following their YouTube page in Egypt. Like, oh my God, do you see this one? Oh my God, look at him. He made a stick look like it's moving. This guy's amazing. Makes me feel like a real, true red-blooded Egyptian again. You see that going on? So people started thinking, because it's like, these guys are amazing, Pharaoh as a has-been, they started thinking, Allah says, لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ. Maybe we just end up following the magicians. إِن كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. If they really win. Maybe these guys will be the next president. You know, Egypt already went through, if you guys remember, Egypt went through a time where it was like closer to a kingdom. There was a king in Egypt in the time of Yusuf alayhi salam. Quran hints to this, and the Bible reinforces this too. And then eventually, the Pharaoh, Trump of the time, started being like, these immigrants are taking our jobs. We gotta make Egypt great again. And then those immigrants became the slave race of Bani Israel. So it was a kingdom, then a pharaonic dictatorship. And now they're like, well, maybe it's time for another regime change. We'll just follow these magicians. You guys see what's going on here? But think about this, wallah. Would this have been a conversation 3 weeks ago, like before the standoff with Fir'aun? Man, from words. Musa didn't do anything, alayhi salam. He just spoke. Think about this, wallah. I'm going to come back to this by the end of tonight. A sword, a gun was never raised in the story. Think about this. Think about this, wallah. Like from the beginning of the story, when we first started Musa alayhi salam, the promise Allah made was the Pharaoh's going to fall, and the slaves will rise. That was the promise from the beginning of the story. How do you do that without raising a sword? How do you do that without raising a gun? All of this happens, mind you, over like probably decades, by the way, at least a decade or so. All of this happens over words going back and forth. The story of Musa is kind of a story of propaganda wars. There's a little bit of that in there. And that's what's happening here. But it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the truth being spoken in the face of someone telling a lie. SubhanAllah. This gives you, wallah, the power of truth. Wallahi, you guys have to think about this. And I'm talking a lot, wallah, but I need you guys to see this. And I'll give it to you through an example. You have Israel being like this cartoonishly evil villain. And everyone sees it now. It's not worth talking about anymore. Everyone sees it. It's not just us that see it. At this point, the whole world sees it. Okay, fine, easy. But now, a new country has been given the spotlight finally. And what country has that been on your feeds? Sudan. And who's behind Sudan mainly? Interesting. United Arab Emirates, a Muslim country. So it could be in the mind of some Muslims that it's different. It's a genocide, but you know, they're like the harbors of Islam. They have shuyukh. No. Islam, the very first thing you guys need to know about our deen, we do not, before we even have loyalties to each other, before I have a loyalty to my mother, I have a loyalty to the truth. I have a loyalty to the truth. Some of you might say, no, you have a loyalty to Allah first. And I would say, what's the difference? What's the difference? One of Allah's names al-Haq, right? He's the truth. The basis of morality, the basis of you and I being a good person is that we respect the truth, regardless of who it's about. UAE, Israel, I don't care. You can be Muslim, you can be the holders of the key of the Kaaba. I don't care. If the truth stands against you, then I stand against you. I'm a Muslim. Does that make sense? Yeah? So this is going back to the story though. Why did I bring all of that up? Musa alayhi salam, just by speaking truth. And by the way, he spoke truth that resonated with everybody. What were the two pieces of truth? Number one, you're not God. God is God. Yeah? We have a better master than you. You don't deserve that title of master like Allah deserves that title of master. People, listen up. I have a better master for you. And they heard that and they believed it. And number two, it's not right for you to enslave an entire population based off their ethnicity. You can't do that. That's truth. And people started believing it. And just from speaking that, like this is the beginning of an end of like, guys, this nation is so powerful that we have it on our dollar bill today. You know what I mean? This is Egypt we're talking about. You look on the $1 bill and what do you see? The pyramid. Why? Because it's a symbol of strength that we want to emulate. Do you understand? That nation fell because of these words. Truth. This is haqq. This is how powerful it is. I need you guys to feel that, wallah, you know? Especially those of you that feel like, oh, what's the point of posting anymore or boycotting or whatever? Like, no, what are you talking about? This is haqq. There's nothing more powerful than this on our side, wallah. Anyway, okay, I'm talking a lot. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ سَحَرَةُ. Listen to this, it's interesting. The magicians, they're being recruited. Do you think they're going to get paid well? No, because Pharaoh's their boss, so they're not going to get paid well. Okay. They're training though for this day because they're getting marketed and like the day's coming up and they're, studying their enemy and they're like learning, what are we going to do? And they're like, doing choreography. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just imagine them like with headbands and like those 70s, like, you know what I mean? And they're studying their magic and all this kind of stuff and practicing. And they realize like, hey man, are you getting paid? The guy's like, no. Frank, are you getting paid? Frank is like, no, I'm not getting paid. He's like, why aren't we getting paid? We are this event. Like, it's our face on the poster. We're the ones that are, being shared on Twitter. Like, that's us. The YouTube page is dedicated to us, our face. It's not Pharaoh's face, it's our face. So we should be getting paid. And they're like, you know what, you're right. And you can imagine if anyone else tried to pull this, what would happen to them? Hey, Pharaoh, hey, boss, can I get paid? What would happen to them? But he can't do that to these guys because he put everything on these. This is a horse he bet everything on. He can't just kill the horse. You know what I mean? That's not going to work anymore. So they see that this is like an opportunity for them to kind of leverage their own power. So they go, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ قَالُوا لِفِرْعَوْنَ. The magicians came to the Pharaoh and they said, أَإِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجْرًا? Are we going to get paid? Are we going to get anything? إِن كُنَّا نَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. If in fact it's us that win, are we going to get paid? And Pharaoh begrudgingly goes, Naam. Yeah, I'll pay you. And look what he says. And I want you to think about the last the election of Biden. If you guys remember, wallah, like when Biden was president, okay, and before he was president, he was debating Kamala Harris herself. You guys remember this? Trump was debating Mike Pence. And if you look back, and they hide this footage, I feel like they hide this footage because it just looks so weak. But if you look back at the footage, Biden said nasty things about Harris. And Harris said some even worse things about Biden. And Trump said some really bad things about Pence, and Pence said some really bad things about Trump. But, because Pence was very popular and Harris was very popular, so when you have someone with that much power, can you just axe them? What do you have to do if you want to maintain your own power? What do you have to do? You don't even like him, but what do you have to do? You have to give him the VP position. Naam, I'll pay you. وَإِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. Yeah, and in fact, if you win, then you guys are going to have really close positions with me. Because he knows that, like, he gets a political analyst coming to him like, hey, Pharaoh boss, I'm sorry to tell you this, but they like them more than you. So he's like, well, instead of waiting for the next election, I'll just make them VP. You see what I mean? Quran's awesome, dude. It's really cool. It's subhanAllah. It's something as old, it's like as old as time that human beings did this, subhanAllah. It's so cool, wallah. Anyway, we are going to tell that same story over again now. This is what's happening. So everyone pay attention. I'm going to tell you not a different story, not the next part of the story. I'm going to go back to the beginning and tell you the same story with a different camera angle. Okay? Camera angle number 1 was how the magicians were used and what power they had. Okay? We're going to go back to the beginning of the same scene with the magicians being hired and the day being set, and we're going to see it from a different angle right now. Okay? That's what's going to happen. All right, bismillah. Where am I? Where am I? Okay, here it is. Ready? Here's where this scene now, we're going back, we're rewinding a little bit. We're going back to right after Musa alayhi salam threw the staff and picked it up. Fir'aun had his little Najwa council thing, okay? And then he went back and gave attention back to Musa. And here's what Fir'aun says. This is Taha right now, okay? So please don't lose your minds. Okay, cool. قال, Fir'aun said, أَجِئْتَنَا لِتُخْرِجَنَا مِنْ أَرْضِنَا بِسِحْرِكَ يَا Musa? Did you really come to take us from our land, Musa, with your magic? So the same thing he just told his top propaganda people, this is the story. He's now officially introducing that story to the public. Because everyone's listening right now, right? You guys following so far? Did you really come to take us from our land with your magic, Musa? Did anything Musa say have to do with taking land or using magic?
No.
Nothing had to do with land. Nothing with magic. It was, I'm a messenger, free the slaves. That's all he said. He didn't say anything else. And now he's making it a land thing. Are you really going to come and take us from our land, Musa? Like that's what's happening here. Okay, nice to that. فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّكَ بِسِحْرٍ مِثْلِهِ. Then we're definitely going to bring a magic just like it. Remember, they just had a meeting. بِكُلِّ سَحَارٍ عَلِيمٍ يَأْتُوكَ بِكُلِّ سَحَارٍ عَلِيمٍ. They're going to bring you every knowledgeable magician, right? And Pharaoh's like, okay, bet, that's a good plan, let's do it, okay? So we're going to definitely bring you magic مِثْلِهِ, just like it. فَاجْعَلْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكَ مَوْعِدًا. Then go ahead and you choose the appointment. We're going to bring magic like it, and we're going to have a little face-off, a debate, yeah? And go ahead and you set the appointment because we're so fair. Set an appointment, you pick the day. Pick whatever day you want. We'll set the match. لا نخلفه نحن. We're not gonna أخلف يخلف to like bail on it. Is that a good way to put أخلف يخلف? I have to check this word. أخلف to essentially we're not gonna bail on it. We're not gonna go back on our word. That's what it is. We won't go back. You pick the day. We won't go back on the day. You pick the day. It's like that jerk after school. It's like you pick the time, bro. I'll be there. Like that. That's like there's no ikhlaf. I'm not gonna have any ikhlaf, bro. Like that's what that guy's saying. Okay. I hate that I don't know dictionary definitions, but I can tell stories. Shows how, mashallah, dumb I am. Okay, ready? Okay. This is just a joke. It's just a joke. لا نخلفه نحن ولا أنت. We won't go against it, neither will you. Makan, listen to this. This is interesting. Makanan suwa. This is such a, how fake. An even place. Okay? There's two things here. Literally, makanan suwa would be like literally like the Colosseum example. I'm not saying they had Colosseums. You get the, I'm just saying like, I'm trying to paint a picture. But makanan suwa is like if you imagine that Colosseum, that flat land at the base of the Colosseum, makanan suwa. An even place. Suwan, even. Makan and Suwa has another meaning though, where it's like, it'll be fair. Like, you know when like Fox News is like, we're gonna have a fair, you know what I mean? Even-headed debate with a Democrat, live on TV. And it's like, dude, you own the network. How is this Makan and Suwa? What are you talking about? This is not fair because all of your news pundits are roasting this guy. How is that Makan and Suwa? That's not fair. You get the idea? But this is what they do. No, we're going to be fair. And he lost a debate fair and square. What do you mean? Which means we must be telling the truth because we won. Because we picked on him and threw eggs at him or something, you know? That's our Makan and Suwa. So he's like, it'll be fair. It's just like Fox News fair. Yeah, Makan and Suwa. Okay. قَالَ مَوْعِدُكُمْ يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ. Musa is now talking alayhi salam. Your maw'id, your appointment, your appointed time is the day of Zina, is the 4th of July. You can think of it as like kind of like that. Yawm Zina was a day that they had that was like a huge deal. So pick any day you want that's like a huge deal in America, like our 4th of July or our like, I don't know, like Christmas or something, whatever. You get the idea. A day where everyone's already outside and like it's like a known like patriotic day or whatever in the country. He's like, I pick that day. That's the day that I want. Because Musa wants an audience. He so clearly won the first debate. He's like, bring it on. Yawm Zina. I pick that day. قال موعدكم يوم الزينة وأن يحشر الناس ضحى. And in fact, I want you to gather the people at the time of duha. Duha is like our like, it's like rush hour. Duha is rush hour, essentially. Like the time that you're out in work and you're in traffic and they're contemplating your life, that's duha time. Okay? And why did he pick duha is like, first of all, it's not too hot. Second of all, it's hustle and bustle. Everyone's already outside. Even if somehow you weren't given that invitation, knock on the door, you come and bring the kids type of thing. Yeah, bring the wife. Even if you didn't hear about that, you're living under a rock, you're outside going to work, you're like, what's that? I'll go check it out. That's why Musa said intelligently picked that time. فَتَوَلَّى فِرْعَوْنَ. So Fir'aun turned away. فَجَمَعَ كَيْدَهُ. And he put together his plan. ثُمَّ أَتَى. Then he returned. قَالَ لَهُمْ Musa. Now Musa, you can imagine that whole thing with the magicians being in that day being invited to, and the magicians, you know, planning for that day and working out for that day or whatever they're doing for that day, and even that conversation between the magician and Pharaoh, none of that's mentioned here. None of that's mentioned. It just goes straight to the day. It didn't go straight to the day in Shu'ara, but it goes straight to the day here. But in between, we know what happened already because of season 2, like we just talked about, right? So in between, the magicians are planning. They're getting themselves together. We're going to hear them saying a little bit, go in rows. They're going to tell each other, let's go like organized. Let's get out there organized. Okay? So they're planning all this stuff. Before the event starts, Allahu Alam when, but you can say before the event starts, قَالَ لَهُمْ Musa. Musa says to these magicians, maybe it's like, you know, like how they're in like a locker room before or something. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe it's that, or maybe it's like right before they actually start throwing down and doing like whatever they got to do in the Colosseum. Musa found time to say to them, "Waylakum." By the way, is this the same? Is this happening right after Musa left that castle, that palace? No, obviously not. This is Allah doing. It's a word for translation. I think it might be iltifat. It's like what a movie does. It's like he leaves a palace and the screen turns black and it turns back in and it's the day of. Because it doesn't matter the details so much. You can imagine what happened in between. It doesn't need to be spelled out for you. Does that make sense? Okay. So fast forward, who knows how long that would be? Weeks, months? To recruit people and train them? Who knows? Allahu Alam. Probably more than at least a few days. It's been a long, long time. By the way, I'm going to plant a seed right now. Do you think Musa's just at home drinking hamawi the whole time? Do you think he's just chilling? Like, oh, I did my job. What do you think he's doing the whole time? Him and Harun. Well, what's his job? He's a messenger. Yeah, so he's talking to Muslims and non-Muslims, and he's having khutbahs, and he's, right? Like, he's doing his thing because he's a messenger. He's not going to just take a break just because he's waiting for a day. Like, I'm going to sit here until Zina, until 4th of July. I'm going to wait. No, he's doing his job. Okay? Now, he says to them, "Waylakum, may you be cursed." Wail is like, it's such a hard word to translate. There's literally no English equivalent. Like when you say wail on someone, waylakum, like how do you even, like without actually cursing, I don't know how to translate it. It's a weird thing to translate. When you say wail on someone, like waylak, it's like may you be destroyed. That's like a Shakespearean way to say it though. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, what's wrong with you? It's kind of like that a little bit. It's like when you're mad at someone, you say waylak. Like there's in Quran, Allah quotes parents who are desperate because their kids don't believe, and they say wayhaka amin, like curse you, believe. But they're not saying curse you. It's like they're so in so much pain. قال لهم موسى ويلكم, may you be cursed. What's wrong with you? لا تفتروا على الله كذبا. Do not make up a lie against Allah. فيسحتكم بعذاب, or he might destroy you with a punishment. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ افترى. And whoever tells a lie, notice that we're talking about truth and falsehood again, by the way. Not even وَمَنْ افترى على الله now, it's whoever tells a lie, period. Because we're the religion of what? Truth. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ افترى. And whoever told a lie it loses, becomes a loser. قَدْ خَابَ مَنْ افترى. And sihr is literally, whether you think of it as black magic, or you think of it linguistically being propaganda that changes someone's mind, essentially, it's a lie. And whoever tells a lie, Musa is saying, whoever tells a lie will be a loser. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ افترى. فَتَنَازَعُوا بَيْنَهُمْ أَمْرَهُم. So they, تَنَازَعُوا بَيْنَهُمْ أَمْرَهُم, I want to say it's like an idiom. What's happening here, naza'a means to tear apart. So they kind of like, they started to argue with each other, the magicians. They heard Musa inviting them like this, and they started being like, guys, what if we lose? Like, I wasn't there, but I heard things. And I don't know if we really have a chance against this. And I went to one of his khutbahs. I think he might be telling the truth. I don't know. Another one's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, don't you know we might be VP after this? Who knows what position we'll have after this? And like another one goes like, I just want to punch him in the face. And like, they all have these different ideas. It's like, okay, Frankie, calm down. And they're all fighting each other. تَنَازَعُوا بَيْنَهُمْ أَمْرَهُم. They're all arguing now. They're like, even they have like a power problem now within their own ranks. وَأَسَرُّوا النَّجْوَى. And then they decided to have like a secret meeting. Okay? What was the end result of that secret? Who knows how long they talked or how they democratically or whatever got to the end result. But by the end of it, they said, قالوا إن هذان لساحران يريدان أن يخرجاكم من أرضكم بسحرهما. These two are learned magicians that want to expel you from your land with their magic. What does that sound like, by the way? Who said that already? Pharaoh. إن هذا لساحر يريد أن يخرجكم من أرضكم بسحرهما. The same exact thing. Which means, where did they get this from? They settled on the story and not the truth. Does that make sense? And wallah, I want you to, this is going to sound very lame, but even like in therapy, wallah, a lot of the time, even in deen, forget therapy, I'll go in deen. In deen, in life, we a lot of the time settle for a story rather than the truth. The truth might be, I shouldn't be drinking, I shouldn't be talking to him, I shouldn't be talking to her, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing that. But the story becomes, but I'm so stressed out. Or like, you have no idea what happened to me, bro. I need her, dude. Like, that's the story. And then when we have a choice between the story and the truth, if someone gets too emotional, what do they end up siding with? The story. So they end up just, the story, they land on, nope, these are magicians, the Pharaoh told us they're magicians, and we're just going to land on the story, right? But it wasn't from them. This wasn't their story they made up, was it? They got it from Twitter. They saw the post, and they just repeated it. I want you to think about this in terms of like Americans, like us, and Americans that are non-Muslim even, that they might see a post about Palestine or Sudan, or a post about like immigration that is actually like truth, it's actual data, it's actually sound, someone speaking with knowledge, or someone speaking with truth, or nuance, at least detail, at least some nuance. And then they go, oh man, that actually kind of makes sense. Nah, but they're taking our jobs, dude. What are you talking about? You know, that's what happened. It's like they all, if they were one person, this would be the equivalent of like, oh crap, I think I'm wrong. No, they're taking our jobs. That's what just happened. Does that make sense? They fell back into the propaganda. Okay, I'm using too many examples today, I'm sorry, but it's just, I want to make it clear how much this is connecting to like literally our life today, subhanAllah, right? Anyway, وَيَذْهَبَا بِطَرِيقٍ, this is an interesting one, wallah. Not only do they want to exit you from your land with their magic, وَيَذْهَبَا بِطَرِيقَتِكُمُ الْمُثْلَى, and they want, how do you even translate this? And they want to take away your exemplary lifestyle. You guys are the true Americans, and they're trying to they're trying to ruin the culture. They're going to ruin your way of life. Islam's going to come and take away, they want to bring Sharia law. Musa wants to bring Sharia law. This is what's happening, literally, wallahi. This is literally what's happening. They want to take away your, when I say exemplary lifestyle, I don't mean rich. I mean like, you guys are peak humanity. That's what they're saying to each other. You guys, everyone else is an animal but you. Because you're an Egyptian. That's what you are. And he wants to get rid of that. No. I'm a patriot through and through. He wants to get rid of that, but over my dead body, you know, that's what's happening, okay? So put together your plan. Then put yourselves in rows. And whoever you know, whoever is raised, whoever raises up on this day, he was successful. Notice in the beginning, it ended and began the same, interestingly enough. Or at least opposite, actually. It ended in the opposite. Musa alayhi salam says, whoever makes up a lie, then he has lost. And at the end they say, no, whoever makes himself high, he's won. So notice how lying and being high, that's what they're, in their mind, it's the same thing. Does that make sense? For them to even question themselves for a minute, it tells us they know they're lying. But here's what I'm trying to say. In the mind of a supremacist, Salam, how are you guys? Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for my mom.
What's your mom's name?
Salam.
Salam, are you here?
I am.
Salam. I found something for you. So cute, wallah. They it's like they didn't even realize what just happened, subhanAllah. Don't you love that? Man, I wonder how they see the world. Well, it's so, subhanAllah. May Allah preserve them, wallah. Make them salihat. Make dua for our kids, wallah, man. Can I tell you guys something, please? Because I know, like they make noise. And the noise can be annoying. I hear them too. But wallah, I'm going to give you advice. Please follow this. Wallahi, don't you dare let any child see you in the masjid without a smile on your face. Don't you dare let them see you without a smile on your face, wallah. Make sure. Yeah? It is extremely important that they feel loved by us, even if we're strangers. Like there was a guy, well, I'm not even sure if he's still alive. Well, I haven't seen him. He's an older guy. And every time, I was like 12. Every time, I know, even wallah, he was like, I was 12 when I first started coming. I was 20. He's just giving me candy every time I saw him. We called him, I didn't even know his name. We just call him the Candy Man. And like from 12 to 20, I'm like, you know? And that sounds so dumb, but wallah, it's like it brought me here, you know? And I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for this place, you know? So don't let them see you without a smile, and we should like honor anyone below 3 feet especially that comes to the masjid, you know? Right? Okay, anyway. What was I talking about? Magicians? Okay, let's continue because I don't want to keep you guys too late. I'm going to try to go a little bit fast. I don't want to keep you too late, inshallah. But I want to finish what I intended to finish. قالوا يا موسى. They said, Musa, إما أن تلقيا. So this is the showdown day. There's people like wearing the #1 magician's foam finger with banners, and they call it like those guys, the Egyptian patriots. And by the way, because they were all made to be there, is this real patriotism or is this something else? This is both fear and being paid off. Because the magicians are paid off and the people are there because they're scared. And I want you all to think about that when you think of like an Israeli rally. Most people there they're literally paid. People that post on Twitter, because rallies are one thing, but Twitter is where everything happens. Instagram, TikTok, this is where things happen. When they post, they get paid. They get money. So what Allah is teaching us is all of this patriotism that we see, online, and like when people hate us because of who we are, whether it's Muslim or Arab or immigrants in general or whatever, Muslims that think with Quran know that there's something behind that. Okay? Because if someone offered them a bigger check, they would believe that then. Most of these people. Don't get me wrong, some of them are actually crazy and dumb. Don't get me wrong. But wallahi, many of them, if someone else signed a bigger check, they would believe that then. That's all it takes. You following me? So Allah is teaching us like the money behind politics right now, that sincerity is not part of the game. The game is money and power. That's always what the game is. And if you want a really easy way to gain money and power, all you have to do, that Pharaoh's teaching us, Allah is teaching us this through the Pharaoh right now. All you have to do is pick an enemy and make everyone believe in that enemy. And if you get everyone to believe in that enemy, then you've reunited everyone behind you, and these people just become fodder. They become the coal that you use to keep this train going. That's what the Israelites were. The enemy that was chosen were the Israelites, and now that enemy is Musa. Now he wants to exit you from your land. They're trying to make him the enemy through the propaganda right now. Okay, anyway. They said, Musa, you throw, وَإِمَّا أَن نَكُونَ أَوَّلَ مَنْ أَلْقَى, or we'll throw first, you pick. قَالَ بَلْ أَلْقُوا. He said, no, you throw. فَإِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ وَعِصِيُّهُمْ يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. And all of a sudden, their ropes and their staffs, notice the word asa, again, just like literally they had staffs, which where do you think they got that from, right? Anyway, how original of them. But anyway, they threw the ropes and the staffs, and يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ. It appeared to him that it was moving. أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. It appeared to him as if they were moving. This is my evidence that it wasn't real magic. They just made it look like it was moving. Just like we can make it look like anyone is saying something they're not saying through AI. You know what I mean? We can make anything look like anything. It's interesting, by the way, how Allah is teaching us that at the peak of the power of a kingdom comes with professional falsehood. Think about it, Allah. Like if they were so able to easily get these magicians that were basically falsehood creators or influencers that create falsehood, then that tells us that with the rise of a power, especially a power on batil, on falsehood, they're going to have strong propaganda arms, whether it's Hasbara or the CIA or whatever you want to call it, right? Anyway, okay. But they appeared to him as if it was moving. And by the way, this was Musa's showstopper. I want you to realize, like in his perspective, like what was his thing? Is he's going to throw the staff and it was going to move into a snake, and now look, they're doing it like 1,000 times because every one of them has a stick and a rope or whatever, and they're all doing it. And the people are like, oh my God, shh, I can't whistle. Oh my God. And they like foam finger guy, and some guys see it foaming at the mouth and stuff. Like they're going crazy over this and they're cheering. And then Allah says, this is like the only narrator that can do what's going to happen next is Allah. He says, فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. So Musa felt in himself fear. He felt a little fear in his heart, in himself. This is so, wallah, validating when you think about it. Because although Musa obviously has the truth, and he obviously knows it, he has no doubt. It's not like he's doubtful, and that's why he's afraid. You know? He's afraid because this is scary. He's afraid because, dude, the pressure's on him. Like, it's literally everyone against him. And that's terrifying. At the end of the day, even Musa is a human being. You know what, like when you think about trauma, for example, is an interesting lesson in trauma. I'll give you a very extreme example, and forgive me, Wallah, if this is triggering for anybody, but like even if you think something as awful as sexual abuse as a young person, okay? You know, the trauma a lot of the time isn't. This is gonna sound crazy, Wallah, but hear me out. The trauma most of the time is not the actual abuse or the thing that happened. The trauma is that they go through it alone. Those kids. That's traumatic. Not the thing that happened, but the fact that it happened and they were young and they're alone. That's the trauma. What am I trying to, how am I connecting this to the story? Human beings do not do well when they feel alone. And that's an understatement. They don't feel when they're doing alone. It's an understatement. We go nuts when we're alone. Musa is isolated, surrounded by people and isolated. He's being laughed at. People are throwing things at him, you can imagine. It wouldn't be far-fetched from other prophet stories, at least. Nuh, we know literally at things. People with Nuh alayhi salam, they would have these long robes that went to the, like these really cocky people. And whenever they said, Nuh, they don't touch me. Like that. This isn't Quran. It's disgusting behavior they had on prophets. You can imagine the disgusting things that were said to him even as he's walking up to take the stage even, So he felt this fear, even though he had the truth. قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ where is it? خِيفْتَ Musa. قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ. We said to him, don't be afraid. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. You are the one that's high. You're higher than them. You right now are in a position where you feel lower, but no, you are higher. You are higher. We should never, ever, guys, be made to feel. We're going to feel fear and sadness and isolation a lot. Especially, guys, in the coming years, I'm telling you, we're going to feel a lot, wallah. I'm telling you. Things are only going to, forgive me, but I don't think things are going to get better from here. I think they're going to get worse, quite honestly, okay? And that's fine. We have Allah. But we're going to feel this isolation, this fear, this depression, this like, maybe I should take it off. Maybe I should just play the game. Maybe I can just go into business a little bit until I have enough money, and then I'll leave it, and I'll give a bunch of money to the masjid, and I'll make up for it. This kind of logic, this is how we're going to think in the next few. Our parents thought this, and some of them, as you know, succumbed to that thinking too. We're going to think that way if we're not already thinking that way. But what Allah is telling Musa and what He's telling us too is that as long as you stand with the truth, then you are what? You are higher. You are, I'm going to say, superior. Not because of a group you belong to, not because you're even Muslim, not because you're Muslim. Not because you're Muslim. The freaking king or whatever he calls himself of UAE is a Muslim. He's not a'la though. No, he's very sufla, that man. Very low. What makes you a'la is standing with the truth, standing for what you believe in. That makes you a'la. This is Allah revealed this to him in that moment. وَأَلْقِ مَا فِي يَمِينِكَ تَلْقَفْ مَا صَنَعُوا. And throw what's in your hand. It's going to swallow up whatever it is that they invented. إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. Whatever they made is the plan or the plot of a magician. وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. And a magician, the magician is never successful wherever he is or whenever he is. فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سُجَّدًا. So Musa threw the staff, that one stick that he had, by the way. You can imagine all of these things, like a whole light show type of thing going on. You know what I mean? And staffs and ropes, and they're all, by the way, in Shu'ara, I didn't tell you, in Shu'ara, while they were doing this, you know what they were saying? بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ. By the power of the Pharaoh. Because he slipped them a 5 on the side, Like, say my name while you do it, because I need... my name's going down on the polls, so they're attributing it to the Pharaoh. Crazy show going on, and Pharaoh's like, for a moment he felt at peace. You can imagine, like, oh, okay, oh man, that was close. All right, what do you got, stick boy? And Musa alayhi salam throws the staff, and Allah says it swallows everything up. Like the word for swallow here is like when a snake or like a crocodile, like, all of a sudden snatches the prey, and all of a sudden, like, where did the goat go? That's the word for swallow here, like it, as if it wasn't there to begin with. It swallowed everything up. The magicians immediately, and we know immediately by the word fa here, فَأُلْقِيَ. The magicians immediately fell into sajda. Sujjadan. قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ هَارُونَ وَمُوسَى. They said, we believe in the master of Harun and Musa. Look how they said Harun, by the way. First of all, I want you to look at the irony, dude. The irony, wallah. Who wanted this day to happen? Fir'aun. Who hired the magicians? Fir'aun. Who made sure the magicians were motivated enough to do a really good job? Fir'aun. Why did Fir'aun do all of this? Because he needed his power back. And who's the one that made sure everyone was there watching? Fir'aun. And everyone saw the magicians bow down in sajda and say to the whole crowd, because you can imagine the crowd's like, and in that silence, they're saying out loud, Amanna bi Rabbi Haruna wa Musa. We believe in the master of Harun and Musa. Oh my God. The propaganda just fell. Like, it fell on its face. This is, by the way, how Allah turns the plans of a tyrant against itself. Because that looks like a good plan. It looks like a good plan. But Allah will pick a moment where it literally flips on its head. You know what, the imagery that Allah gives sometimes in Quran for dhalimeen, for people that oppress, or people that lie a lot too, He gives the imagery of like they're climbing a ladder, and that's going straight up, and they're climbing a ladder, and they're climbing, and they feel really good about themselves. And they're climbing, 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 and Allah's letting them climb, and climb, and climb, and do wrong, and murder, and whatever. And then as soon as they get super nice and comfy, what does Allah do to the ladder? He snatches it. And then like a Looney Tune, they go into the earth, Allah says. Like the fall is magnificent, the way that Allah does it. Every dollar that Fir'aun spent, gone. All the effort that he spent, gone. He bet everything on this horse, and the horse just made sajda. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do after this? And this is what I want to end it with, because this to me, I never studied these ayat in detail, but they make me very emotional. Like, you don't really need to study them for them to hit the heart. I'm hoping I can do them some justice. Listen to this. I love this very much, Allah. I hope I get to convey some of it to you, inshallah, but it's hard to sometimes. قالوا آمنا برب هارون وموسى. Fir'aun then replies, this isn't the part I like, but the part after, listen. قال آمنتم له. Did you believe in him? قبل أن آذن لكم. Before I give you permission? I'm going to paint really fast what's happening here emotionally. This is not Fir'aun nobly speaking to an audience. This is him crashing out. The language is extremely angry. This is not him being cool and collected. This is him losing his mind in front of everybody. Okay? Listen to what he says. إِنَّهُ لَكَبِيرُكُمُ الَّذِي عَلَّمُكُمُ السِّحْرَ. Oh, I get it. He's your boss, the one that taught you sihr to begin with. Now you are at that point one of two types of people. Because this is the equivalent of like, oh, I get it, Miss Rachel. You're Hamas too. When you say something that, listen. When you're like that desperate and you say something that pathetically like desperate, then at that point your audience is one of two people. One that's like, all right, buddy, come on, what are you talking about? Like, you hired them. What are you talking about? Or you're like, oh, he is? You're either the one who's like, okay, khalas, I believe in the truth, or you're the one that's like, okay, khalas, I'm going to go with the story. You know what I mean? He must be kabirukum, your boss. Listen to this. فَلَأُقَطِّعَنَّ. Every students, what is this? فَأُقَطِّعَنَّ. What is that? Thank you, Adam. Emphasis. أقطع, to cut. أُقَطِّعَنَّ, I will cut. لَأُقَطِّعَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ, I will cut your hands. وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ, and your feet. مِنْ خِلَافٍ, on opposite sides. وَلَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ, meaning left hand and right foot, or vice versa. So left hand, right foot gone. Just humiliation, just disgusting. Okay. وَلَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ, and I'm going to, by the way, listen to this. I'm going to crucify you on palm trees. You know what's weird about this? Where do you think the palm trees are? In the slave quarters or in the most rich part of the city? So I'm going to nail your bodies on the richest parts of the city for everyone to see. This is like the Romans, for example, used to do this, right? Do you think this is a threat to the magicians only? This is a threat to everybody. I'll make an example out of you. في جذوع النخل وَلَتَعْلَمُنَّ, and you will definitely know أَيُّنَا أَشَدُّ عَذَابًا وَأَبْقَى, which one of us, meaning me or him, me or Musa or his God or whatever, that's in his kufr mentality. أَشَدُّ عَذَابًا وَأَبْقَى, who is more intense in punishment and longer lasting. We'll see who's tough after I do that to you. قالوا, this is the part that gets me emotional. Well, listen to this. Listen to the words, wallah. I'm just going to translate it. قالوا لن نؤثرك على ما جاءنا من البينات والذي فطرنا. We are not going to prefer you over what came to us from the clear evidence, وَالَّذِي فَطَرَنَا, and the one who created us. We're not going to prefer you over him and for what came to us from the truth. فَقَضِ مَا أَنْتَ قَادٍ, then do whatever you want. إِنَّمَا تَقْضِي هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيا, هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيا, excuse me. You only have authority in this lowest life of ours. Inna amanna bi Rabbina, we have absolutely believed in our Master, liyaghfira lana, so that he can forgive us khatayana, for our sins, wa ma akrahtana alayhi min as-sihr, and for the sihr that you forced us to do, that we admit now was wrong the whole time. Who's listening, by the way? I need you guys, who's listening? Everybody. Like, Fir'aun lost a debate against Musa, and now Fir'aun's losing a debate against people he hired. And everyone's watching. At this point, there is no mistaking. There's no questioning anymore. It's not like my wife's sister's dog said. It's like I saw it. It happened on the 4th of July. I was there. I was front row seats. I was the guy with the foam finger. I saw the whole thing. You know? Wallahu khayrun wa abqa, and Allah is better and He's longer lasting. Because Pharaoh just said, let's see who's more intense in punishment and longer lasting. Wallahu khayrun wa abqa. Innahu, and listen to what, now it's as if they're not even talking to him anymore. They're just talking to everybody now. Listen to this. Innahu, no doubt about it, it is the case. Man yati rabbahu mujriman, whoever came to his master as a criminal, fa inna lahu jahannam, then for him especially is hell. Jahannam, la yamutu fiha wa la yahya. Probably the best summary of Jahannam in the Quran. There's no better summary. La yamutu fiha wa la yahya. They will not die in it, but you can't call that life either. What other way to sum it up? La yamutu. Allah, by the way, borrows this wording in another surah in Juz Amma. What's the surah? Someone write? A'la, right? And A'la. Is it A'la?
Yes.
A'la, at the end of A'la, yeah. Allah loved this so much that He used it in A'la. لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. ومن يأتي مؤمنا, and whoever comes to him, يأتيه مؤمنا, whoever comes to him as a believer, قد عمل الصالحات, not just someone who believed, but someone who believed and had done good deeds, had done something with that belief. It wasn't just talk, they did something, she did something with it, he did something with it. فَأُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الدَّرَجَاتُ الْعُلَى, then they have the highest rankings. جَنَّاتُ عَدْنٍ, the gardens of eternity. Where did they learn? Paula, pause for a second. Where did they learn this? Yeah, dude. All of a sudden, they're giving a khutbah all of a sudden. They sound like Sheikh Kifah just yesterday. You know what I mean? Where did they learn this? All of a sudden they got zapped with knowledge? No. They say study your enemy. So they were putting on a cloak and going to the sermons and stuff and listening to what was being said. And maybe at that point they were like, oh, this is not what I expected. This actually makes sense. But no, he's a magician though. That was belief without action. And now they're proving themselves. Now that they saw what they saw. Because guys got to keep in mind, they know AI. And that was not AI. Oh, sorry, magic. Right? They know propaganda, and that wasn't just propaganda. That was something different. We can't do that. You know what I mean? To them, it's obvious. But they learned from Musa alayhi salam. It goes back to what I told you earlier, that this story is one of words going back and forth. Well, think about this for us in America. If this story is about words, and Trump does not have power like Fir'aun did, by the way. Netanyahu does not have power like Fir'aun did. They don't. No matter what way you cut it, they don't. They never will, right? But even that one got toppled because of words. Because of people, men and women, like you and me, inshallah. Say inshallah, we'll make us of them, ameen. Men and women like you and I, whose belief became something. And we told the truth. Even though we felt fear, we still told the truth. We put our money where our mouth is, literally and figuratively. And we insisted. And when that happens, Allah will literally change the world. Through us. That will happen. These guys heard words, and now those words, it's like It's like Musa had a microphone through these men. You know what I mean? And they're telling everyone, subhanAllah, Jannatu adnin, gardens of eternity, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, underneath which rivers flow, khalidina fiha, living forever in it, وَذَلِكَ جَزَاءُ مَن تَزَكَّى, and that is the reward of those who purify themselves. And that is all we know about this story. The screen kind of turns away, Pharaoh is fuming, it's left to the imagination what happens to them. Allahu alam, but you can kind of imagine what happened to them. May Allah have mercy on them. And may Allah make us like them. SubhanAllah. I love this story, guys, wallah. It's so touching, wallahi, you know, SubhanAllah.